Hi, this is our smart car. We bought it as a non-runner. We've changed the battery, we've put in a new alternator, but still the starter motor isn't cranking the engine. So we've made a decision to replace that starter motor, and here's our story. Thank you. Starter motor is located just along here, and it's attached to the engine with 2 bolts, which I'll show you in the next clip. This is the throttle body. This needs to come off. This hose needs to come off. This will be first, along with the intercooler and its fan, and the intercooler cowling, which is located to the rear. Once all this is off, we'll be able to see the 2 bolts, and that will release the starter motor. It is a bit of work, and lowering the engine does actually make it a little bit easier as well. And this is what you're trying to get to. These 2 bolts here secure the starter motor in position. This pipe comes off first. Once I've removed that, I can then remove the throttle body. This liquid from here is oil. It's fed to the intercooler, or it's cooled. This will also need to come off to expose the 2 bolts to the starter motor that are sat behind here. So once I remove this, behind here you will see there's a rubber seal here. Okay, so I'm going to replace that with a new one, so be careful when you put it back. Make sure that's all cleaned out. These are over £16 each and are quite difficult to find. This is the entire intercooler subassembly. So we have the fan on the front that cools it, there is the intercooler, and on the back is the cowling. So in order to get to the 2 bolts that secure the starter motor to the engine, which are located just down here, this whole structure needs to come off. To get the fan off in the first instance, there's a little clip on the front here that stops these 2 clips from being pushed in. So if you just ease that forward a little bit and then squeeze the clip together, or both at the same time, and then once you've got it past, that should then, just a little bit fiddly, don't break this because they are expensive. Just move it forward just out of the way. Just enough to press the clip together. There, I think. Just stops the clip from going together at the front. That's a real pain. Good design, stops it from coming off. Nice locking assembly. There, I think I'll go now. There. And then it just lifts up 2 securing bits at the bottom, and then put that to one side. Okay. And there you are. There's the intercooler in all its glory. On the side, to get this thing off, there are some little press-in clips again. So you just press that in and pull back, pulling forward when you're actually on the car. and then just a little bit at a time. This side I've already done. There. So now the intercooler's off. And to give you some idea of where the bolts are located, we have one tucked in down here and the other one tucked up over there. So in order to get those out, it's an E8 socket or spanner, and then once this is out of the way, you'll be able to locate the 2 bolts that secure the starter motor to the engine. And that is easier to show you here than it was on the engine bay, but we'll go back to the engine bay now. This is the cowling that supports the intercooler. There's a securing bolt just here, and another one on this side, which you can only get to from that side. Very difficult to get to. I find mine, this is in not too bad a condition, but they do rust up very quickly, so I'm going to replace this with regular bolts. Once you've got the cowling out, and this is what you're trying to get to. These 2 bolts here secure the starter motor in position. So this is the hose that has to be removed, and just going to do a little trial run, putting it back on. Yeah, all good. Getting the starter out is a bit tricky, so you have to raise it out, get it pointing down, and just gently close up, and it will come out. Like that, and that's it. This is actually the new one, but I just wanted to show you, you do need the car or the rear subframe lowered as much as possible in order to twist the starter motor out and up to give you enough room to get it out. This is how I've got it set up. I've got my live feed from the battery coming into this terminal, and it's permanently live. I've got the starter motor clamped to my earth, my black cable, so that creates a circuit. It wouldn't work otherwise. And to represent another little terminal from your ignition key goes to the back here via a cable, and if I take a live feed from here, a little crocodile clamp, onto the back here, that solenoid should push out and spin that motor. So there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the new unit. So if we swap them over and we have a look at the old unit, so that's all hooked up. Right, so I'm not getting it. I get a little spark on the initial here, and a bit of smoke. Let's just make sure my earth is fine. Let's try that on there, just to make sure. Here we go. Yeah, it's dead. So I'm not sure what the problem is with the starter motor, but clearly that is the fault, and hopefully when the new one goes back in the car I should be running again. Okay, that's it for now, thank you. Let's check everything's connected. Twist it past there. And the solenoid is going to tuck right down into the bottom. There she goes. So what I'm using is two 35mm Jubilee clips. I'm just checking to make sure I can get to them once they're in. So I'm just going to use a little bit of WD-40. Don't like the idea of having a water hose over above the starter motor. But it's such a compact car. You need muscles like Popeye and delicate little fingers like a pianist in order to get your fingers in and around components. Make sure that's seated. Rather than a screwdriver, I use a little 7mm socket. Just a little bit easier. That's where I want that one. Jubilee clips have been in my garage a while, so I'm just going to put a little bit of WD-40 around them. That's done, and next we're going to start moving back towards the cowling. Jubilee clip. Oh, it's on. Let's get out of the way. That one's at the bottom. I'm just going to do them up and then return the engine over, see what happens.